Ross, being the mogul that he is, being the GOAT that he is, he always lays game on me. He always give me jewelry for the jewelry box. And one of the things that he told me was to keep your circle small. When you come into this game, make sure you keep your circle small.
But how are you feeling so far since signing to MMG?
Real good. It's been exciting, it's been fun, man. It's been a really good ride so far. And it's only going to get better.
As a Boston native, what would you say the rap scene was like there?
Man, I feel like at first it really wasn't a scene like that. Nowadays, it's starting to turn to the scene with the artists that we have now. I feel like we're moving in the right direction. In Boston as a city, as one of the top cities, we definitely on the come up. It wasn't a scene, and I just feel like now the artists are starting to build together, with the different the entertainment side is connecting also, with the sports and everything. So it's starting to connect now.
How are you able to connect with Rick Ross? Because I know he's all the way in Florida. Granted, it's still on the East Coast, but it's states away.
So, me and Ross maintained a relationship for a few years, man. We've been buddies. We've been friends for a while before we even tapped in with the music. Like, we was doing different things because we both have a love for fashion, So me and Ross, we just built a relationship, a rapport over the years. And then everything just happened. They say everything's timing. So even if it's 10 years, 20 years, and for me, it just happened to be 10 years when I had the opportunity. And once the opportunity presented itself, I just went full steam ahead at it. Once Ross, gave me a chance and the opportunity, I took full advantage of it.
Signing with MMG and having heavyweights such as, Rick Ross, Wale, and Meek Mill, where do you feel like you fit in? And what makes you stand out?
Well, I feel like I fit in, I joined the team as an individual, Smoke, me being from Boston, is something new. It's not a lot of artists from Boston that's in the game. So I bring that as well. And, all my guys on MMG, they all stay fresh. I also bring another fashion side to it. So I love to be able to, just add my expertise and just bring my sauce to the team because those guys are already all-stars, So me joining the team, it just helps me become an all-star too and help me to become great.
I see that before signing with MMJ, you had collaborated with some New York artists such as Jim Jones and Conway the Machine. Did you always have a strong connection with New York and their artists? And what was that like working with them as essentially like an outsider?
I feel like, coming from Boston on the East Coast, we only 3.5 hours away from New York. So it's like we always had that connection. Boston definitely as an individual, but it's kind of like a smaller New York. And only being 3 hours away, as a kid, I always frequent to New York, whether it was going shopping, going back to school shopping, whether it was just to go, I used to know people that performed at the Apollo, just different things. I always went for the culture. And I always, as being an East Coast artist, looked up to New York artists such as Jay-Z, Biggie, Nas, the list goes on. But I definitely always was tapped in with New York.
I've seen that you've received mentorship from the likes of Michael Bivins and David Banner. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So Michael Bivins, him being an icon from Boston, I personally, I had the pleasure of being a young kid and having a relationship with Michael Bivins where he took a liking to my talent early, me being about 12, 13 years old. And around that age, he also had me doing different work, preparing me for the game. I was doing for a little bit of ghostwriting for the guys on the New Edition guys on the rap side. So, that was my first time ever getting an industry check as a teenager. So that was really major for me at the time to be able to work with one of those guys with New Edition and be able to, to bring, I looked at them for years. I always looked up to them. I loved their music. And like I said, them being the icons that they are from Boston, man, it was just magic. So, dealing with Michael Bivins taught me a lot at a young age about, the business, him being one of the first young Black moguls in the game. And David Banner was someone else that I met in my teenage years. David Banner, I met at the time when I was on Sony Epic. So David Banner was an artist that I met, and I learned independence from David Banner. When I met David Banner, he was on the tour bus. He had he had the studio with him. He had his production equipment with him. And he was just so self-reliant that I just took a chapter out of his book and just learned that you have to be independent. Even when you're on a major label, you still have to have the independent mind frame to do for self. Because a lot of artists, I feel like once they get to the major level and they get signed to a major deal, they think that it's all up to the label to do everything for them, but it's not. You still have to be independent and willing to work and put boots on the ground, and that's the difference between the artist that's successful and not successful.
But just want to clarify on the New Edition thing. So would you say you were a ghostwriter at that young of an age, 13?
Yeah, like I was working on a project at the time, and Michael Bivins had me write a rap for Ronnie DeVoe. So definitely, that was I believe I was like 15, 16 years old. And it was a project in Boston that we did called the Top 10, where Michael Bivins picked like the top 10 rappers that he felt at the time in Boston. One of them was myself. The other was my brother, Rock Ducati, rest in peace. Another was another friend of mine's. And the other 7, Ronnie DeVoe was one of the 7. And, Michael Bivins, I had the pleasure again of working and, doing a little bit of work. But, like, what I'm saying? Like, that was back then. I was 15 years old. I got the pleasure to work with him on a verse. And, it was amazing. It was definitely a dope opportunity.
Is there anybody besides because I know for your new single, Water Whippin', you just had Rick Ross on there. Is there anybody we should look forward to you collaborating with soon, or is anybody you want to work with?
The dream collab for me to happen was the Rick Ross feature. So it was like a dream come true for me. A lot of artists out here that I would love to work with. I would love to work with, my other fellow MMG artists. That's coming soon. The likes of Meek Mills and Wale's. Those guys, I'd love to definitely work with them in the near future. I love everybody, man. So Drake, anybody, that was willing to work with me, I would love to work with them. So many names, so many artists that I would love to work with. It's kind of hard to just name all of them.
Going back to your single, Water Whippin', I definitely saw that it was like a twist on Black Rob's Whoa. So can we get some backstory on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, man, that right there is crazy because originally we had a whole different beat. And I have some producers that I work with out of Atlanta, GG Almighty. And sometimes I send them records that I do and see if they hear something else on the production side. So that happened to be one of the records that I sent to these guys, and the record was complete. It's crazy because by that time I had already shot the video with Ross. The video was complete, but something in me told me like, let me just send this to these guys and see if they hear anything on the production side, anything that could help the record take it to the next level. So when I sent it to him, he sent it back to me, which he was just gonna use it for maybe 8 bars in a song, like a little sequence in the record of the Whoa beat. And when I heard it, I was like, nah, that's it right there. Let's try to use that for the whole beat. And when he sent it back to me, I loved it, but at the end of the day, the boss had to give the approval and put his stamp on it. So once I sent it to Ross and he loved it too, man, it was crazy. I just knew that was it at that point. And then I
like Derek, it was great.
Thank you. And then long live the legend Black Rob as well, and I love that record as a kid coming up. That was one of my favorite records. So having the pleasure to be able to even rap on that record is just a blessing in itself. So shout out to Black Rob, all of his fans and his family, rest in peace to Black Rob, definitely.
Are you working on anything new, and what can the fans expect in the future?
Top of the year, I'm dropping my new project, 100 Million Ain't Enough. So everybody be on the lookout for my EP, 100 Million Ain't Enough. It's definitely, gonna shake some ground in the industry.
What kind of vibe is it giving? What can we expect? Are we getting some dance tunes? Is it a lot of hardcore rap?
It's definitely, I got something on there definitely for the ladies, for the clubs, We got something for the streets, for the trap. We got something to make you think. You know, that's me. I want my music to be able to touch everybody. I don't want to just be boxed in, you know, to just one lane. I want to be able to move around and, you know, everybody feel my music. So when you listen to my music, I got something on there for everybody, for everyone. Be on the lookout for Bulga, man. Double MG, newest signed artist. You know, I got a lot of great things happening. You know, I want to shout out the boss, Rick Ross, once again for the opportunity. And I want to shout out Hollywood Life for you, Mira, for the beautiful opportunity. Thank you.